Hello everybody, this is Kyle from Option Scalps. I am doing my Tesla weekly analysis. Today is April 5th and the trading week comes to a close on April 6th. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, I am not a financial advisor and this is for educational purposes only. And so let's get into it. Weekly trend line here. Talked about this several times and how it's come into play in our Discord. And I told everybody mark it on their charts. And it seems to be that this thing continues to come into play. We see that we had a nice run on last week, close over the top of it here. But I told everybody don't get super excited. We're back at resistance here. I would expect this thing to get pulled back underneath this trend line. And sure enough, on the next fall on Monday, we opened up around this 200 mark, right under this trend line, and we've pushed down. Currently, we're trying to hold this week's high and last week's low, and we are sitting right on it. Okay, so 186.22 is what we're looking at. That's going to be your kind of I suppose, a pivot area in regards to what we're looking for on a weekly close. Even so, we're talking about a bearish candle here rolling back from 208. Doesn't look great for Tesla. If we one more thing, want to pull up the 200 SMA here. Oh man, I turned this on for something. Here, let's get this. Okay, so our weekly 200 SMA is approaching our price action here. It makes me believe what we're going to see is a touch back at 176, testing the weekly 200 SMA again. And if we can't hold 176, then we're going to be Tesla is going to be in some serious trouble. We're going to see this thing doing some serious testing around this 163 range. But as of right now, we're seeing the weekly 200 SMA at 176.08. So what are we looking for on the daily? Daily has our 200 SMA right here at 215.37. It is starting to flatline, and if you look back, we're probably right in this range over here for the 200 days back, and we'll start seeing this thing start to move up. So you start to see this peel back up a little bit. I think we've pretty much hit the low it's going to hit right here at 215, and then you'll start to see it curve up a little bit. Now, will we hit that? We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a nice look for it as the 200 SMA starts to trend back up. I would start to think that that's going to start helping investors, long-term investors, look at it as a more stabilizing price action, and instead of this large drop we've had over essentially since the end of 2022. No one's really wanted to get in this stock as you've just seen this thing declining. But we're about to see things change. That's about to start to flip back over. PE ratio on Tesla is roughly around, let's see, I want to say 53 right now. So you're paying a premium on it at this price level in comparison to the market's 17 to 20 PE ratio on average. But additionally, what are we looking at right now, right? So we made that push up over here on Friday. We've had 3 bearish candles since that Friday. We're looking at 186 to be our area that we're watching for a pivot zone. That's going to be right here at 186. We're going to see if we're going to hold over this for the week. Now, I'm not quite sure that's going to happen. I'm going to show you why I think that. If you take a look at the 15-minute and we're start looking at price action, we see that we have highs up here all the way from 211 all the way up to about 217. On this rebound, we came back, found confirmation on this our support back here on this low around this 160, found support, and we've bounced and really made a nice little run since then. Now, From that bounce, we made an effort over here at 186, made an attempt to really push our way back up, but ultimately got rejected on 200 a couple times and virtually just flatlined with this high over here. Now, watching it, we did make that push over the top here recently, but we did not take any of these highs. So, what's that mean to me? Well, if we're talking about waves, where this is a wave moving up, then we're way past any type of Fibonacci retracement level. We're actually moving into negative zones over here. I think personally, when you look at this, if we go to the 1 hour here, we're looking at potentially, I don't know what this, maybe that's just off from different time frames, but we're looking at this breaking this trend line. We looked for support from a drop on this at 200. It virtually went through 200 like warm butter and dropped all the way back down to the trend line here. And at right around 193, tried to rally up to it, had a decent close going into finish. And then ultimately on Tuesday, we saw this thing open, tried to make a run back up at 200, got sold down, and has made its way back down to 191 ish, 190, 191 ish, and sold and couldn't reach over the top of this high here. So as you see, it came down, couldn't hold the high here, couldn't hold this high here, rolled back down, tried to find support in this key area right here, and got chopped on it, ended up actually selling down below it, working on lower levels. We lost this high here, so we're looking for this low here. We came here, found a chop on it, tried at the high here. It was a nice close going into this on Tuesday, but I said we didn't even recover over this trend line, and we didn't even recover. I mean, we came from 208. We didn't recover to even to 195, back on trend. So I said it wasn't a bullish close, even though it looked like it. I said watch for this thing to open around 193 to 190, and it did. It opened right here at 190 on yesterday's lows. And this morning I told everybody if we lose 190, you're going to see 186 and 183. I was going to head down to this key pivot area right here at 186. And I said if it heads down there, you might as well look for the gap close down here at 183.23. And it didn't quite make it there. It didn't quite make it there. However, I'm going to consider that to be sorry, I'm getting blown up on my phone over here. But watching this, we couldn't make it over the top of 186. It actually sold off. We see the last candle here on the 15-minute. We see a pretty substantial bearish candle over here. Not engulfing, but dang close. And then if you look at post action, it would definitely be an engulfing, bearish engulfing pattern. So to me, what this means is that we couldn't hold this high, so we test this low. We couldn't hold this low, and so now we're going to be testing this low, right? So we have these waves here. Couldn't hold this high, so we're going to be looking for this low. We tried to make that push here. We're going to see if we make it over 186. If we can make it over 186, then we'll be looking for 190, 192, and then possibly all the way back up to 198. Okay, that's going to be, in my opinion, what we could see on a run. Now, didn't hold the 200, barely holding on to the 186. It makes me think we're going to make a run at this low. This low is a pivot zone, and if you remember, the weekly 200 SMA lays right on this. So what do I think can happen? I think personally that we're going to make a run, and we're going to go and push down below this 181 mark. We're going to find support here around this 180 area, and then we're going to run up from there. We're going to make another attempt back here at this 186, but we're going to find and try to find support here back at 180. We're going to take this low here at 181.32 or 181.31, and then we're going to close this out. We're going to hit this low, and then we're going to find support here at 180. Do we take out 176? I'm not so sure just yet. Okay, I'm not so sure. It may make an attempt, it may take it, and then you'll see a candle probably close over the top of it. But if we lose this, these purple areas are my pivot zones, and if we lose that, then we're looking for essentially the 160s again. We'll be testing these lows down here. All right. So, key areas you need to focus in on Friday for the play. We're currently at 185.08. I believe we're likely to open up right around this 183 mark on this gap closure right here. Okay, I think we're going to open right around here. And if we do, we'll see ourselves try to rally back up to 186 or maybe just drop straight down to 180. I would look for going long here at 180 and look at my cut at a sub 176. That's going to be the weekly 200 SMA. I'm going to use that as support, and I'm going to look for this to be a risk reward ratio, trying to make that attempt at least back at 186, if not higher. We're starting to form a trend right now. And if you take a look at it, here, we're seeing virtually that we've had multiple points of contact, try to push over, but ultimately closed on the trend here, right? Now, taking a look at the daily RSI here, we see our trend has been broken here, and we're looking for support back on this area right here. It's been broken. We can find support here and bounce. Okay, so we can see us push down, and then it's going to be about the daily close, right? So this is all about closing on the day. For me, a bullish close would be coming back up towards this trend line and closing on this trend line or higher. If we do not close above this trend line, then I believe that we have that more downside to come. I believe that we'll see that 176. We'll look to test this target right around here and this around this 42.39 on our RSI, which would likely bring us down to this 176 here. Okay. We've got an attempt. We've got an attempt here to really bounce on Tesla, but I believe it's going to be, the battleground is going to be a 180. All right, so keep that on your charts. 180 is, you're looking for a long entry and trying to find the bounce here. We've seen it several times in the past that this has been a major critical area, and then once it's broke, then you could start panicking. But 180 is going to be our entry. You could lightly go in here at 180 and then really hammer it right here at 176 when that's taken, right on that weekly 200 SMA, and then you would make a much tighter cut than you would. But if you want to, 180, and then your cut would be right around 176. Let's look at this in the 1 hour here. On a long, keep us here 175.27 and looking to retrace back up towards that 200, back up towards this trend line. Let's put it right around here, because we would imagine that we'd retrace probably back in somewhere in this range. So at least attempt back at 192 or even higher, but let's just say 200 here. We have a risk reward ratio of 4.29. It's a solid trade, knowing that that weekly 200 SMA is there, and we would see if we can hold this area right here. So I got a little long-winded there at the end, but virtually what we're looking for is support at 180. 186 is our pivot zone. If we take that and have a nice close, you want to see a candle close over the top of that, like a 15-minute candle close over the top of 186, then we would see a continued upside testing some of these lows here at this 190, and then ultimately with a price target here at 192.67. I don't know where this 193.75 came from, and then we be looking for, let's go to the 15-minute. Yeah, 192. Let's move this back up here. I don't know if that got moved or something. Then we'd be looking for a high here, additional high right here at 196. So these would be your price targets to the upside. We're on a tight trend here, tight wedge that's really started to develop. It's broke down. It's on the wrong side of that support right now. Let's see if it wants to get on the right side of this trend here and make its break to the upside. If it doesn't, guys, 180, 176, crucial areas for Tesla. If we lose these, we're heading down to 160 and maybe all the way back down to this dreaded 146.50. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to put a comment on the YouTube video. If not, then we'll talk to you in the Discord. Thanks.